Okay, so we are going to review solving quadratics, graphing quadratics, all of it in this section. This should be the most familiar to you because this is the most recent one we did. When we solve by factoring, it has to be set equal to 0. So I want to move the 6x to the other side and move the 6 to the other side. So now we have x squared plus 13x plus 40 equal to 0. I want to solve by factoring, so I see a is 1 and it's a trinomial. X and x, 5 and 8, multiply to be 40 and add to be 13. Then I have to set both equal to 0 to solve. And negative 8 and negative 5 would be your solutions, would be your x-intercepts, and so forth. Number 2, what's the intermediate step? So remember, we said a lot of times we're going to like to just switch to this format. When you complete the square, all x's need to be on one side, constants on the other. So this 20x is on the wrong side. So we need to subtract it to the other side. Alright, now we start b divided by 2 squared. So negative 20 divided by 2 squared. Negative 10 squared is 100. That 100 is going to be added to both sides of the equal side. So we get 49 on the right. This is a perfect square trinomial, so I can write it like this. And the number that goes in here is the number that multiplies itself to get 100, but added to itself gets negative 20, and that is negative 10. You can also find that number right there after you divide it by 2. This is what they want on this line. This would be the answer. Alright, completing the square, the same one as before. It's just now finishing it and actually solving it. So all variables on one side, x is on the other. B divided by 2 squared. 16 divided by 2 squared, 8 squared is 64. Add that number to both sides. Sorry, I ran out of room. That's 4. The number that goes here is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 plus 8 is 16. Now we solve, so first step is square root. That'll get rid of everything on the left except for x plus 8. Square root of 4 is 2, and negative 2. So you solve both. X equals negative 6. X equals negative 10, and those are your two solutions. Number 4, solve it again. These two guys need to switch. So we now have x squared minus 6x equals negative 3. B divided by 2 squared. Negative 6 divided by 2 squared. Negative 3 squared. Negative 3 squared is 9. 9 gets added to both sides. This is 6. Oop, I forgot to add it there. Minus 3. I now square root to get rid of the square. X minus 3 equals, because 6 is not a perfect square, I leave a space, plus minus square root of 6. Add that 3 over to get x by itself. That 3 jumps in front of this plus or minus 6. Alright, the next problem, move a little quicker. Determine the x-intercepts. Negative 6 and negative 2. Your y is always 0 with x-intercepts. Determine the vertex. That's the highest or the lowest point. It's your highest here. That point is negative 1, 4. Determine the y-intercept. Right here. 0, 5, because your x is 0. Axis of symmetry is the line that cuts through the middle from the vertex. It cut through at x equals 1. That is the equation that x equals is needed. Find where it's decreasing. So the side of it that is decreasing is this side, and it goes on forever. So we're going to use x and the x of our vertex, which is 5. All the numbers to the right of 5 are greater than it, so x greater than 5 is your answer. Determine where it is decreasing. So again, use the x of your vertex, so x and 3. Decreasing would be this side, so it's less than 3. Rewrite it in factored form. Remember, we don't complete the square to do it. To rewrite it, we just need the vertex and your A. Your A here is -8. To get your vertex, we do negative B all over 2A. So negative 96 is positive 96. 2 times -8 is negative 16. That'll equal negative 6. So our X of our vertex is, negative 6. To get our Y, we plug it back in. And then plug that all into your calculator. And we get out -9. So when we rewrite it in vertex form, our A is -8 from the original. X, it becomes a positive 6 because a negative 6 is plus, -9. Which equation best represents the graph? It's an upward U, so it's going to be a positive A, so we eliminate B and C automatically. In standard form, we look for the y-intercept. So the y-intercept here is -2, so D is our answer. When it's in factored form, we look for the x-intercepts, 4 and 7. But when it's in the problem, when it's written like this, it's actually your opposite. It's a downward U, so we're erasing the positive ones. And then A is your answer, because -7, -4. In vertex form, we look for the vertex. That is at 2, -6. Remember, the X of your vertex changes sign, so that should be -2. So -2 are the top and bottom ones. But it's -6 because it's a -6. All right, to find your x-intercepts, that means your y is 0. X minus 4 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. Add 4. Add 3. So your intercepts are 4, 0, and 3, 0. So 4, 0, and 3, 0 is right here. If they wanted your y-intercept, that means you plug in 0 for your x. So 0 minus 4, 0 minus 3. -4 times -3 is a positive 12. So 0, 12 would have been your answer for the y-intercept. Alright, to find the coordinates of the vertex in standard form, x equals -b all over 2a. So -32. All divided by 2 times -4. So 32 divided by -8 is -4. So the x of your vertex is -4. You plug that back in. To get your y. And you get out -8. So -4, -8 is your vertex. For this one, they want you to compare the graph and the table, and they want to know what the minimum, or they want to know if it's a minimum or maximum for f of x. Here it's going to be a minimum because it's your lowest point, and remember it's the y of there, so -2. And there is no maximum value, so our minimum is -2, meaning there's no max. Here for g of x, remember it's where in the middle of your two numbers that repeat. So here is our vertex. We take the y of the vertex. To be able to determine whether it's a max or a min, we go from a high number to a low number back to a high, so it's another minimum. Oops, sorry, I circled the wrong one there. Maximum. Therefore, f of x has a greater minimum than g of x. All right, we got to put it in order from smallest to largest minimum value. So once again, it's the y of your vertex. So here, our vertex for g of x, I skipped over f of x for a second, is right here because -3, -4, then it goes back to -3. So -4 is the y of your vertex there. The y of your vertex here is -8. Up top, you have to do the math. So -b all over 2a. So -1 all over 2 times 1, -1/2. That just equals -0.5, and we got to plug that back into the calculator. -4.25 is for f of x. So from smallest to largest, -8 is your smallest. Next smallest number is f of x, and then g of x. So h, f, g is letter E. Your last two, this one just wants to know how many seconds does the rocket hit the ground. So it's up in the air and then hits the ground at 6 seconds. They want to know the real solutions, which just means where it intersects at the x-axis. So -8, 0, 0, 0, and 6, 0. In Delta Math, you just have to write it like that.